All right. Yeah, so today we're talking about content creation. Content creation is something that, okay, media organizations do, agencies do, publishers, broadcasters, everybody. But at the same time, also we see this boom of content creators by independent creators. So it's interesting to see the developments in this industry and also the tools that come along with these developments. And I think this will be some of the topics that we will address today. But now I would like to welcome Christoph to the virtual stage to share a bit of his inputs on content creation at Hassassiman. Christoph, the floor is yours. You can share your screen.
Okay, do you see the charts?
We see, maybe just put presentation mode and then will be perfect. Yes.
Good. So thank you very much for the invitation. And I hope I can deliver a few thoughts. First of all, excuse my English. Well, I'm not that trained anymore, so I do my very best. I want to present you a few thoughts on content creation, what we are doing, and two cases which have impressed me, which are from other agencies. So you see the name Kong here, and I hope I can deliver a solution for this word at the end of my 7 minutes. So Julia, please tell me when I'm running out of time.
Will do.
A few words to Ressourcenmangel, only 30 seconds. We are 260 people in Germany belonging to the Hirschen Group, and via the Hirschen Group to the WPP Cosmos. We're working for clients such as McKinsey in employer branding, working for Danone Waters with the brands Evian and Volvic, for example, in content creation and influencer marketing, and have a few federal ministries here in Germany as clients. And we do all the social media content for 3 of them, so that you have an impression what we are doing. What I've learned from Julia is I should say something about creating content, and I would regard our company as creating content queries. So really using the content or the story to bring the story via person, via written, via corporate, and moving content to the target groups. So the story is always in the center, and then we try the different firms of content management to bring it to the target groups. I have, let's say, 6 cases or theses which I want to present you. The first one is really the content creation part, what we are doing. So we are really looking on the target group and what kind of communication they need in which channel. One example is the Maler, the painters. So it's an employer branding campaign to gain youngsters to be interested in the painter's job. Here you see the board, which I incorporated a few minutes ago because I didn't know that I have only 7 minutes. But I want to give you an assumption how it looked or like.
Mit eigenem Gänsehaut-Content in einem Kampagnendesign, das den visuellen Ansprüchen der Instagram-Community gerecht wird. So beweisen wir, dass der Malerberuf genau das bietet, was die jungen Leute online in den Bann zieht. Die sinnliche Erfahrung echter Materialien.
So really the sense of the material,
die Videos verdeutlichen nicht nur, wie abwechslungsreich und anspruchsvoll der Malerberuf ist.
So this is a short impression about this case, which I really like because it shows the painters with really special content. And the results, it's only on Instagram, the results are really amazing. So that's kind of content we are producing. As a second thing we are doing, of course, is content platforms, really deep platforms. One example I want to show you is crisis communication. It is the Corona Kita Studie. We were asked last summer to get all information from more than 20,000 kindergartens in Germany, collect all the data, that we have an impression what's about the virus and the youngsters. How do the virus affect the youngsters in the kitas? So we collected all the data, did PR around with the data in crisis communications together with the responsible ministers in the federal government. And it was really, really deep data case, really getting the information from more than 12,000 kitas. Are they involved in the corona? Is the coronavirus there? So it was really crisis communication with a lot of content. And of course, this work helped us. I am a parent. Well, really to get a feeling that the government is really doing the right things concerning the Kita case, because it was only one of the few digital projects within the federal government during the corona crisis. So that's really a deep platform project we did. What we also doing is data PR, so to say, branded journalism to create the content in a journalistic style. The case here, which I wanted to present to you, is the E.ON Energie Atlas. Here's a view of it. It's the first data project in Germany, which is collecting all the data you have about the Energiewende, the change of the energy system here in Germany. We bring them all together in one place and did some rankings to show that Berlin is better in doing the Energiewende than other countries. And it was really a really successful PR project, because we also invented the Day of the Green Energy. It is the date. It's the day. So long can Germany work with solar energy, eco energy. So it was in June. It was quite a good and successful PR stunt around data. The next thing, digital content spaces, that's really fascinating, because when I look on other works from other agencies within the last 12 months, my impression is during the corona crisis, there's really a jump forward to create digital spaces. There's tremendous progress. That's my opinion. And a really great case is the Uncensored Library. It is, well, the agency DDB incorporated a story about censorship into Minecraft. It's really fascinating to overrule the censorship in certain countries, so that the users really could read text which are censored in Minecraft. It's really amazing, and that's really a highly sophisticated digital space project that I really liked. So that's the things we are talking about within the agency world. The last, the fifth point, artificial intelligence, or I would call it, is it content intelligence? And Julia, maybe we have the time to really show the case from Lego, because it's really impressive, because this case is content, the future of content, I would say. And I was really impressed when I saw it, because it's bringing all techniques together around AI. So maybe can we look at it, or is it?
Yes, we can. If you want to stop sharing your screen, I can share mine and then we can see the video. But just if you want to mention the 6th project, and then we can show you that, and then at the end of the time.
Okay, great. So that was a mistake of mine. So my last remark. So yes, content is king, but I think there is more. Context is king, yes, but I certainly believe context is King Kong. I have a PR background, and that's the thought I wanna join or share with you. That's why I'm calling my method contextual campaigning. So I'm looking always on the real context to use my content to play to the target groups. I could show you a wonderful case for that here, but I skip it.
The G.
And so at the end, this is my thesis. When you're creating content, look at the context, because context is a little sister of relevance. And when the content you're creating is not relevant, it's not interesting for the target groups. So there's always a PR view on content. And I think that's, despite all data, despite all techniques, don't forget that. That's it.
Thank you, Christoph. Thank you so much. If you want to stop sharing your screen, I can take over.
Shall we have a look into this film? Do we have the time? Yeah. Otherwise,
I can. Yes, I will take over the Freigaben.
Yeah.
I hope you can all see it. Can you?
In der Star Wars Welt kann sie Dinge durch.
No, we're still seeing the slide.
In der Star Wars Welt.
Okay, then. Okay, Christoph, I think you just have to stop sharing your slides. Click stoppen. Yeah, perfect. Now let me take over. Can everybody see a video playing?
Yeah.
Cool.
Kann sie Dinge durch reine Willenskraft bewegen. Um die neuen Lego Star Wars Sets zum Launch des letzten Star Wars Films zu promoten, nutzten auch wir die Macht. In Kinos überall in Deutschland gaben wir Fans zum ersten Mal die Chance, die Macht am eigenen Leib zu spüren. Angekündigt in TV und online, konnten die Fans die Macht in sich entdecken und in einer Battle gegeneinander antreten. Das Ziel? Das eigene Raumschiff möglichst schnell wieder zusammensetzen und so den anderen besiegen. Wir entwickelten die Force AI. Einen Machine Learning Algorithmus, der zum ersten Mal mehrere Faktoren mittels Bilderkennung misst und kombiniert. Gestensteuerung, Muskelanspannung, Gesichtserkennung zur Messung der Konzentration und sogar Pulsmessung erkennbar über Farbveränderungen der Haut. Mit 15 Messungen pro Sekunde generiert der Algorithmus den eigenen Machtwert. Je höher der Wert, desto schneller setzt sich das Schiff zusammen. Der Spieler mit mehr Macht gewinnt.
I think you can stop here. Maybe you've seen it. It's a really fascinating case, and maybe that's in a way the future of content, to use all the techniques to create content like Lego did with the Star Wars project.
I'm totally sold. I want one right away. But Christoph, I would like to thank you, because what I think very interesting about your presentation, by the way, if anybody has any questions to Christoph, he has to leave at 11:30. So I encourage you to write now on the chat. But what I think is very interesting is that today we're going to talk here about the tools that agencies themselves use to produce this content. And you're talking a lot about the context as the content and the meaning of the campaigns. Mm-hmm. How much, like in the past years, like also have you is the technological component or the innovative component relevant for your companies for your campaigns at Ressourcenmangel? Like, how much do you think like this has to be in a different format, or this has to be interactive, or
Well, the old rule is still there. You need content which is relevant. When the content is not relevant, it doesn't matter if you have highly sophisticated technological solutions. But of course, we're really looking first on what is relevant, and then we're looking at the techniques, the channels we can use. So relevance is always the first, and I'm a historian. PR resonant, extremely old business campaigns I've analyzed campaigns from Cicero 2000 years ago. So relevance is the key, and otherwise it's a content graveyard. Mm-hmm. And so we have to look on both sides, what is relevant, what is a technique we can use to bring our message to the users, as this wonderful Lego case shows. As I mentioned, it feels like future.
Feels like future, and feels like something I really want to have. It's really cool. But also the campaign of the painting, I really like it. I think even if it's as simple as using an Instagram, That's pretty.
Yeah, you see the Mala case, it's quite easy. It's about voice. And then we use for Aeon, we used really highly sophisticated data analysis. So it's all there. So we try to use what we get concerning technology and to use it.
Thank you. I think, Christoph, you did a perfect introduction to the session, because not for once you are bringing the agency perspective, an established agency in the market, and talking about what is relevant and where is the relevance lies, as you say, was saying that the context and so on. And what the startups will bring today to this table is the toolkits that creative agencies and companies can use to improve and optimize their production, because as we've seen from the campaigns you share, they all look very, very high quality and produced. That looks like there's a big team, a lot of time and a lot of energy spent into it. And today we're gonna now move into the toolkits of the content creators in 2021. And for that, I would like to invite Ludwig to introduce us to Whocanshoot. And I will invite Ludwig to share his screen, be on the virtual stage.
Yes. So hi, everybody, from my side as well. And first of all, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate this. And also thank you, Christoph, for that introduction. I think it gave a really good overview of all the different types of content that you can produce and all the different types of innovations happening. With Whocanshoot, we're actually focusing a bit more on the bread and butter of content, I would say, so on photo and video content. And we've been working on a new platform for like a year now, and we've launched this in beta earlier this year. So I'm really excited to just share with you what we are working on, and also hear your thoughts, of course, in terms of how you're handling photo and video production. So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's get into it. With Whocanshoot, we bring content creation in one place. So today, of course, we're living in a real-time content world. So everything is cross-channel. We go from camera to web shop in one day. We live stream on social media. And in the end, we consume and we produce more content daily. Now, this need for content leads actually to new challenges in creating content. One is we need to produce 24/7. Second is there's an increasing competition, especially for agencies, because there's now influencers and brands have to decide, do they work with influencers, with agencies, with freelancers, and it has gotten easier to create content. And then lastly, there's also a really broad skill set required, because the clients are more demanding and the users or consumers are more demanding. So you now need videos and photos and animations and AR, and you need to combine all this to have like this 360-degree approach that also a lot of agencies follow. Now, how do we solve these challenges? For producing 24/7, of course, we need very efficient workflows. We also want a unique client experience to stand apart from the competition. And in order to have access to a lot of skills or services, you need to have access to a large creator network so that you can really diversify your services. And with Whocanshoot, we want to help people overcome these challenges and find these solutions. So what is it actually? With Whocanshoot, we're streamlining content creation, and we're building an all-in-one system to manage photo and video productions. So clients and collaborators, as well as, of course, internal teams and colleagues, can access everything that they need for their content production online. And they're put in one content delivery loop. Now, basically, we're going from this, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this kind of workflow where you just send different links for Dropbox, or you have like an email thread with a lot of back and forth. You create files on Keynote or on PowerPoint, and you share PDF. And we want to go from this to this, where there's one professional space, where there's all the information that you need, where you can plan photo and video productions, where you can deliver, where you can collect client feedback, and you have one kind of like, one source of information. So to do so, we're building one workspace for all content needs. As you can see on the left, we've built that in different modules because not every content production campaign, etc., is the same. So sometimes you need talent, sometimes you need to shoot on different locations. So we've built really like modules for to fit the workflow of the individual productions, and you can kind of like mix and match these. So it's end-to-end production processes that you can choose based on what type of content you want to create. Again, the benefits are all information are in one place instead of all the fragmented tools that currently are used. And then also we're automating simple tasks. So when you're exporting PDFs, think about like creating a call sheet, for example, a very common task that people spend hours on doing that manually. You can just do that automated, and things like these that you're kind of like used to from other modern tools, but that are somehow not really standard in the content creation industry, especially in photo and video today. Now, I want to give you two very specific examples just so you can get a better feeling for what we're doing. One is actually media galleries that help to collect feedback and empower clients. So a lot of people, when they have created their content, they share it with WeTransfer or Dropbox or other file sharing tools, FTP servers, and they lack a lot of functionality. And so what we've built is these proving galleries that you can collaborate on file selection and on the file delivery. So you can set different color codes, you can set comments, and you can also download files in different file formats. You can export selections to Lightroom, Capture One, and other photo editing tools that you're using. And this will really make it easier and make it much faster to collaborate on file selection with your team or with customers. Another quick example I want to give you is castings or talent scouting, where you can really make casting boards in seconds. This has also been a really tedious task for everyone who's working with actors, models, or influencers, where you really want to share like what talents would be available, where you can import talent agency links. You can manage availabilities and collect client feedbacks on like who would be the right fit for this production. And you're building a database with beautiful profiles that you can use for future projects. Now, another thing is that we're making things not only easier and more efficient in the day-to-day tasks, but we're also allow you to brand these projects with your company, with your logo, with your cover image, and you can even host this in your own domain. So you can actually, as a content agency or as a content creator, you can give your customers access to a branded client portal. And so if we have all this now and we go back to the beginning, you'll see with Whocanshoot, we focus on making workflows more efficient, and we help to improve the client experience that creators can deliver to their customers. But what about the content creator network? That's simply that we're not there yet. We've just started a year ago, and we're helping achieve these first two solutions right now. And we're also, to give you a little bit an outlook of what we have planned, we're working on a creator network starting next year, where you can then also where you can have access to public profiles, and where there's like an international database of creators, for example, photographers, stylists, designers, that you can easily discover and hire for your project. Or if you're an agency or a creator by yourself, you can of course find new clients by promoting your services on our site. So that's the general overview of what we're doing. And I'm really interested, of course, I mean, first of all, hearing your thoughts afterwards, and also if any of these sparked your interest, and if you are in the business of creating photo and video productions, of course, just get in touch, and we can also set up some easy testing case if you're interested. Thanks.
Thank you, Ludwig. Thank you so much. You can stop sharing the screen now that we can.
Yep.
Christoph had to leave, but that was really nice to have his introduction. If anybody has a question, you can write on the chat, or after the two presentations from the other startups, we can move on to the debate. I have a follow-up question to you, Ludwig, because I don't know if you changed that on your website, but I remember at the beginning there was a statement, a new era for content production beyond COVID-19. So from your experience, like, did the push to remote work last year really gave, you know how in publishing we say now this was a push for digitalization? Did you see a different push that was needed in the last year in the creative content? And how do you see the future now? What do you envision as being the future of content production?
Yeah, so there has been kind of like two trends. One was, I would say, at the very beginning of COVID, where content productions were really impacted heavily, and people have been trying to come up with like creative solutions to have these remote productions and things like this. And now I think more regular content creation is done and is possible. But there's one, I would say, long-term effect that COVID has, and that also a lot of people that I talk with tell me that they are moving more towards a remote setup and have fewer people producing, and then have like easier remote workflows. So for example, one content creation agency in England just told me last Friday that they typically would have their customer on set when they were like shooting something to get the real-time feedback. But now they're doing this via Zoom and via like tethered shooting, so that they would upload the photos, and then the clients would of course be at home or in their office, and then they would have access to the live photos and give real-time feedback. This is just a small example where I think people are moving more to remote workflows and to ways on how they can, you know, collaborate on productions, and that's just planning, shooting, post-production, and do all that as remote as possible.
I see Mila nodding is because she would totally agree when she presents her product, but I'll get to you in a bit. Ludwig, thank you so much. Everybody is now introduced to Whocanshoot, and I would like to pass the ball to the two other portfolio teams from NMA. First of all, I would like to invite Marina, who is now headless, but there's a purpose behind that, to quickly introduce us to FrameRite. Marina, you have roughly 3 minutes. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that should be enough. So, hi, my name is Marina. I'm the CEO and co-founder of FrameRite. I'm a photographer, and visual culture is close to my heart. At FrameRite, we are solving a core problem affecting visual culture. This time, the solution is easy. Now it's just a sticky note covering my lens. But what if you never knew when your image assets are covered by metaphoric sticky notes? Are you really okay with the occasional headless portraits or other awkward crops? Wouldn't you like to be in control of how your image assets are displayed? Photography used to be a process of carefully creating one final image, but in today's digital environment, one picture needs to fit to countless formats. FrameRite is a complete solution that makes image display control possible. We have an easy-to-use interface for fast version composing. The UI is powered by our in-house built AI, offering an augmented intelligence experience that lets you be in charge of your style. Do you really want an AI to crop your images so that the subject is always in the center? And do you want to use the same AI as your competitor? Or would you rather stand out? We trained FrameRite AI with a unique data set of manually cropped images by professional image editors at the DPA. This makes it the world's first image composing algorithm that knows visual dynamics and can be further harnessed to evolve together with your style. You can try FrameRite at framerite.app, and to get it as part of your daily workflow, you need to tell your tech team about us. We have APIs for quick integration. Just tell them this will leave them more time for coding instead of endless CSSing with impossible images. Currently, we are working with media houses around Europe, and over the coming months, we are expanding our scope to advertising. If you agree that more tech should be built with visual first thinking, get in touch and let's have a nerdy talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicely done. By the way, you don't have to memorize framerite.app. We're going to send a follow-up email with you to you with the link, also with the contact to Marina, so you can start cropping your photos properly.
And don't forget to talk with the tech team. And
talk to the tech team. I have a follow-up question to you, Marina. Frameright has been part of NMA since 2018, if I don't, not mistaken. What have been your key learnings since then in terms of product fit and market fit?
Well, I think it's quite yeah, like this it's not enough to have a great solution. There's a lot of awareness building to do, and that's what we have been kind of working a lot lately. And one tool that we found very useful that I really recommend it for other startups as well is if you have not heard about it before, but it's category building. So there is this Play Bigger book, and it's super cool. When you're creating something new that does not exist, it's kind of the chicken egg problem there that you need to kind of learn how to express it better.
Nice. Maybe then you can share also on the chat this tool that you mentioned. Thank you, Marina. I'll get back to you, Winter Ludwig, right on. But I just want to introduce our last speaker of the day. She envisioned remote working before it was cool. And Mila, can you tell us a little bit about your work with Modern?
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Mila, I'm founder of Modern. Modern is a collaboration and insight platform for creative teams inside agencies and brands. And also Julia mentioned that we provision a bit the collaborative part of creating ideas. So how I did come with that, I faced all the problems inside creative processes, such as sitting in front of a blank page, searching for inspiration, brainstorm session are messy, and it's hard to pitch ideas to other people. And also COVID accelerated the remote collaboration, and it's hard, especially for creative people, to sit not in the same room and brainstorm. So, and when I'm talking to large advertising agencies such as Saatchi, BBDO, McCann, how do they hunt creative insights? I was surprised that not all of them have a structured answer. Some of head of creatives are saying, we're just going out in the street or to the park or at least to museum. But in my opinion, it's very important for creative people to be up to date and follow all trends and innovation. Biggest part of this, it's to do a research. So it's very nice when you are working cool advertising agency and have a great strategy team, but who can help with the customer research and drive deep to a customer problem. But let's imagine you don't have. So it would be very nice to have any tool that can help you to generate ideas faster and better. So here we are, Modern. Modern provides the relevant market and consumer insights, reference to other great ads, and trends and innovations, and also helps to run brainstorm sessions easier. So this is it. I think I managed 3 minutes.
Has the conversation changed since you start approaching companies, be it advertising agencies or any kind of company? Was it much more, are they more open now since we are forced into remote work?
Yeah, they are open at least to try our beta and to see how it works. But still, when we are going to enterprises, it's long-term conversations, and it's sometimes hard to convince them that they need our product, etc. So, yeah. But they change their mind. Yeah, they're open. But I think, the next step in this way is semi-remote collaboration, like not only remote thing, because for creativity, it's important to build something that will work semi-remotely.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a shift, a new way of working, right? Maybe towards the second semester of the year, so on. I would like to inaugurate the session where we exchange and talk and ask questions to each other. All of you in the audience are welcome to raise your hands. There's also a button on Zoom that you can raise your hand or write on the chat. And otherwise I'll be moderating. I have some questions already for the speakers, but what I think it's quite nice in the audience we have here today, I see from the names, familiar names, we have first of all, very international crowd, and I see also from different producers, like we have from broadcasters, we have from ULE, from RTBF, we have from creative agencies in Germany. So it's quite nice if you guys want to also share a bit of your own experience with content production in your in-house, you're very welcome to. But what I'd like to ask a question to the three startups at the moment is, we see a lot when we talk about content creation and creative agencies or digital, I think the mind immediately goes to, oh, the nice campaigns as we've seen before, the content, right? These things that really impresses. But this all requires a lot of work on the backstage, I would say. But how is it to work or to approach these creative agencies from your experience? Like, do they have, Marina, for example, a tech team or not all of them? How difficult it is to implement a new solution when it comes to this work? From your experience, of course.
I think it's like with all companies, big companies, the problem is that everyone is so busy. And when you come up with a new solution which actually would save money, make it possible also to be in control how the brand really looks with images, and to kind of offer this solution and also make the process fast. The thing is, like, everyone is so busy in what they're doing at the moment, trying to survive every day, and to kind of get through that wall. That's I think it's the main challenge for all startups, to kind of, because it's also, there are so many of us, like so many startups coming up with the best solution there ever is, and really believing in it, in like how to make it work, like how to balance it out, that companies would test with no fear. But yeah. So that's my answer.
Ludwig?
Yeah, from my experience, it really depends a lot of the company culture and also on the company size. So typically a smaller agency that is owned by someone is much more flexible, and they are, if you have some, like, I think startups specifically, no matter what area they're in, they in the beginning need early adopters. And early adopters are only a small portion of all people. And we all think like, oh, we're early adopters, but in reality, we're not. So it's only like 10% or something. So if you talk to 10 people and you have maybe one early adopter from in there, and they say like, this is cool. It's maybe not like internationally rolled out, but it's just in the beginning, but I really like this. And if in a small company, if you find one of these people, they are like, okay, I like this. I want to implement this in my company or in my organization. But in larger enterprises, there's never only one person who makes a decision. So if you speak with like 3 or 4 people, you speak with a manager, then maybe someone who will actually use the tool, then with someone from finance, you have like 3 or 4 people, and not all of these 4 people will be early adopters. So that's the challenge, I think, when talking with larger enterprises that also the other startups have mentioned. The problem is that you would need one really big fan that is an early adopter, that likes your product or your service, and that likes it so much that they are willing to kind of like push it through in their organization, because there will be people who will say like, let's do it how we always did it. Let's not change anything. I like my habits and stuff like this. And it doesn't matter the industry. So I think that's just a general rule of thumb that it's tricky to sell early products to large enterprises where there are multiple people in the decision making, no matter what industry.
Yeah. Mila, I mean, you have a like on this matter, you have worked in the industry yourself, like at Leopold, for example, and now you are on the other side trying to approach them. How has it been your experience?
It's been easier working as an art director and coming up with the creative ideas than otherwise sell the product. But yes, I'm absolutely agree with the previous speaker that it depends on the agency, and the smaller agencies has better. I think they are like trying to find new solutions easier. Of course, enterprise are stuck with their daily tools if they have some. Because as I mentioned in my speech, I was surprised that I was speaking a lot with different creatives, directors in the big agencies, and they don't have even structure in creating ideas. They just so much creative that, come on, Mila, now tell me why I need it. So it was a nice experience. It is a nice experience, and yeah, this is the main issue, I think.
And maybe a follow-up question to this. Creative, if you think about the creative toolkit, the must-have features, or when you try to sell your product or to get a partner, do you prioritize one pain point? Let's say, is there a hierarchy between money saving, time saving, making life easier, planned production? And I think this is something also, maybe, I don't know, Claudia, you work from radio and audio, maybe you can also tell us a bit from your perspective. Are there in the creative world two pain points that are stronger than the others at the moment? For example, Ludwig, I think in your teacher was saying the time cost, the time saving, is one of the pain points that you use the most, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's also a common thing with new software solutions, that you have multiple kind of values. So if you make something more efficient, typically you're faster. So that could be a value, like faster time to market. Like the client needs this photo tomorrow, and how can you get it like in 24 hours? Or you can say like how to be cheaper because I need like fewer people to produce this photo now, or I have reduced external costs or whatever. And then there's also things like how do you present it to clients or to other people. And for me, I mean, I don't know if there's a real answer, because I think it really depends on each case. Like some people are really, they want to reduce their costs, so for them that's something really important. For other people, it's just the ease of use and to have a better workflow, and just be happier when working together. These are more like soft values, I would say. And I don't even know if there's one core value that outweighs all the others. It always depends on the case and what the goal is of the companies, what they want to achieve. However, typically I find it is it's always stronger to tell someone that they can make more money with your service rather than tell them that they can save money, because that's what people are always interested in. So in our case, for example, we actually, now that we have this branded client portal, and you can actually have a better client experience, and you can also in the future get more job opportunities. This is something people are super excited, because they're like, hey, I can all of a sudden offer something to my clients that no one else has so far. So this actually helps me like win more clients, win new customers, and that is actually something even like more stronger than just saving money in the end, or at least in our case. I mean, it always depends.
Yeah, Marina, you have something to
yeah add? About the pain and kind of in the early days, we always kind of emphasize on there's like the photographers or content creators pain. But we have also learned from the feedback from our customer, when the tech team is actually the one who kind of sends us like thank you emails, is that it's the pain that the tech part of companies are actually living with. So like, yeah, just trying to make the images fit. And yeah, just to kind of be aware of where the actual pain is.
And a question to this. So you've been talking about your work with agencies, let's say established companies, not be publishers, depend regardless of the size. But I've read an article yesterday that I think from Forbes that said that we have now 50 million content creators on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so forth. And so there's this boom of content creator, like it's decentralized, right? Content production and good quality content production is not anymore on the hands of just organizations, agencies, and so on. And also with this boom of content creation, this creator economy, comes a growth in tools. And with this growth in tools for content creation comes a growing interest in VCs and funding and interest, but also in competition. Have you seen, especially I think Marina and Mira have been around for a little while, a big change since you started to like, whoa, where are all these tools coming from right now? Or I need to change my game a little bit? Or is this a big potential now for all of you now that they're basically more potential?
We also thinking to build something, you know, for smaller individuals and you know, small team designers, illustrators, and etc. Because everyone needs inspiration and everyone needs to brainstorm sometime. So this is one of our next steps with Modern.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say very nice question to ask. Yeah.
I mean, it's always to have more companies and more action in the same space where you are at, because it's also it gets lonely when you're just trying to kind of convince people about this one thing. So it's actually I can see the change in the last years, that there is kind of, yeah, now the timing is even better. There is also a lot of discussion about pictures and so on. So the world is changing also at the same time, which is good.
In that sense, yes. I mean, Ludwig, you haven't been around yet for a long time, but I mean, the booming that the tool that you're creating could also be used by independents and so on. That could also be an advantage for you, no?
Yeah, I mean, sorry?
Yeah, no, I mean, also on that point, you can maybe share a little bit how do you work, because you have these two fronts in your product, one for the organizations and the one for creating this network. How do you prioritize and juggle these two fronts?
Yeah, I mean, we've always had the idea that people shouldn't work in different silos. So actually what is still the case today when it comes to content production is that basically as an organization, maybe a brand or like a content agency or publisher or whatever, you have your workflow that your team is following. And then you work a lot with external creators like freelancers, photographers, influencers, whatever. And they have their own workflow. And then you kind of like each works in their own workflow and you exchange like 30 emails back and forth. And I think that is a core issue that we're trying to solve. And that's why we said we're going to place us to connect actually these two. So we're not going to build a silo solution for one part. We're actually building a solution where the creator and the client, let's say, are on one platform and they can exchange thoughts and share things. And so that's why we basically have a two-sided solution. As you said, we speak with larger companies and clients who can use our system to work with their creators. And then we also have a solution because basically the features that the people need are really the same. So we have also a solution for the creators, that they can, you know, manage their productions, that they can share certain files and assets with their clients. And it's interesting that you mentioned also TikTok creators and influencers, something that's a new space where there's also not that many tools where they have new challenges because they need to be a lot of different roles in one person. They are like the creator, they are like the project manager, the post editor, then they publish it. And so typically for these are like these one-man shows. So for them, it's even more important to be more efficient because they don't have a team behind them typically.
Yeah. We are arriving towards the end. I don't know if anybody has a question. They want to monopolize the mic if somebody has a question. If not, I will throw Nico on the spotlight. I just want to ask, because Nico, you have in the past worked with agencies as well. I don't know, from your experience there, how do you see the status of like adopting new tech within organizations, or where is there big potential in the teams, or any thoughts in your experience from agencies?
Well, thanks, Julia. That's an amazing question, which is not really easy to answer. I think the biggest issue is that agencies are driven by their clients and by the campaigns that they have to deliver. And so they have plenty of day-to-day operations and not as much time to think about, the processes they have to implement, the stuff they want for the future to make things better. They're really driven by everything that happens right now. So when Mila comes to them and says, hey, you can do the creative process much, much better, they say, oh, wow, this sounds amazing. And then they say, hey, let's do a follow-up. And, for that follow-up meeting, the client has scheduled some review. And so all of a sudden, 5 minutes before the meeting, they say, oh, you know what, we can't do it. And that's probably the biggest problem. They have the total attention towards the needs of the clients, and they usually neglect their own needs. And so in every agency, there's this pile up of stuff that they really have to do, and they never get around to doing that. And so a lot of times agencies talk about how innovative they are, but what they mean is they have creative people. That's what they mean. But they're not really innovative in terms of delivering stuff in a new and improved way. They still do it the way they did it in the 80s and 90s. And it's a big plus if they have any collaboration tools in place other than just a normal file sharing thing. So it's in a sense it's problematic because they sell something to their clients which internally they rarely fulfill, at least in Germany.
Yeah. That reminds me of the scene in Mad Men, the series, where the first time that computer is brought to the room and people totally freak out and they're like, what is this? But yeah, I think that paints a picture. But thank you, Nico. I think this is a really good point when we're talking about specifically agency. That is like the client is there's this issue, and I think that's my thought. I will use this last 4 minutes to go around the speakers and maybe ask them what they envision in the future for the startups and also for the industry. But my takeaway is also, while maybe with big companies, organizations, or agencies, there are some issues in terms of they don't have the time, they don't have the resources, or their focus lies somewhere else. Maybe this decentralization and dissemination of content production by independent players might be a good rise for startups like you guys. But I don't know, Ludwig, what are your vision for Whocanshoot, and where would you like to see the developments going in the future? Maybe a little bit of crystal ball moment here.
So our vision, actually, thanks for asking. Our vision has always been kind of be the counterpart to stock, because like there's so many content there's so much content that you consume every day, and it's getting faster and faster. Like if you just think about social media, you have an Instagram post, and then like a day later, no one sees it anymore. And so what is the solution to all that content? People have been using stock photos. Like, hey, there's like photography now. There's even like sites like Unsplash where there's free stock photos. Just use it and throw it in there. And that will basically handle all the quantity of needs. But it's not working for brands. It's not working for publishers that need like specific content for their products, for their news, etc. Of course, then you cannot use stock. So what is the alternative? The alternative is to hire like 10 different people and organize a photo shoot. And that's really time consuming and costly. And our vision is kind of like, or where we see the industry is smaller teams around the world that you can really book on demand for ad hoc shootings and production, where you get your content in just a few hours basically, and you don't have to have all this super big organization and costs running. that is kind of like my idea for the future. Like, as you said, actually smaller teams distributed everywhere on demand.
See, maybe that's the rise of creators. Cool. 1 minute, we have 2 minutes more. Marina and Mila, your final words and visions for your startups?
Yeah, so yeah, I have an overall vision that that we are working with FrameRide for is to build more visual awareness. So at the moment, we are kind of in a bad times of photography in a way, because there's like the value is in a weird space and so on. But I believe that in future we will kind of, at least if we work on it, to have more kind of visual culture and awareness of like, yeah, that's my goal, to work on that.
That sounds promising. Mila, 1 minute for your final.
Yeah, our vision, I think that, you know, we want to go beyond advertising industry and to create, as a next step, to create some tools for, as I mentioned, for smaller creatives like designers, illustrators, and etc. And also engage a semi-remote experience, because right now, talking to big advertising agencies, I realized all the pain they had with their online brainstorming and that stuff. So they like begging me to make something semi-remote, even if it's, I don't know, some you know, go out and brainstorm together with some, you know, I'm not saying I'm not generating ideas right now, but this is our next steps and our vision for nearest future, I think.
Cool. Good luck.
Thank
so
you.
Everyone, we are reaching the end of this super nice but very short session. Again, another debate that I think could continue for another hour. I would like to thank you all for, first of all, thank the speakers for the startups, for showing your products, for showcasing your experience in the field. I will follow up forward your contacts and links to the attendees. I would like to ask everybody who joined also commenting and sharing your thoughts on the chat. And yeah, this was the wrap of this season's Spotlight event, where we featured the 4 startups that are part of our current batch. And I will invite you all to stay tuned to NMA's network, so we announce our future plans and events for our network. But yeah, I wish you all a lovely day and see you hopefully soon. Virtually or in real life, even better.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.